I'm clapping. It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday, and I'm showing my gratitude for the NHS and other key workers. Maybe you are too. There's people out in the street where I am, banging pans with wooden spoons, and neighbours chatting over their hedges. It's lovely. I was just saying to Sophie, our special guest tonight, that it would be nice if we could express appreciation every day, express gratitude every day, just because we're alive and it's another day. So that's lovely. So yeah, maybe some people will be joining us a little later today. I hadn't realised. Well, I'd 8 o'clock on a Thursday. It's a normal thing, isn't it now? Anyway, there's my clap. I've clapped. So welcome everybody if you're watching live, and welcome if you're watching the recording later on, as I know a lot of people do, because you can't please all the people all the time with these recordings, and no time will suit everybody. So welcome anyway. Tonight we have got the soul food wizard Sophie Baystream joining us from Gotland in Sweden to talk about abundance and creativity and food and community and lots of wonderful things like that. We might even talk about miniature pigs. And before we bring Sophie in, I'll just give you a quick trail for what is happening for the rest of the week in the Hive. So what day is it today? Today's Thursday. That means tomorrow is Connection, Support and Meditation Day. And I'm planning to lead a guided visualization tomorrow, which I found very wonderful when I did it last year. So hopefully you'll enjoy that too. So join us at 8 o'clock for that on Zoom. And on Saturday, Rachel Slott is going to be the first book club. And it's chapter 1 of The Road Less Travelled, which is a very wonderful book. And when I read it, I just thought it was the best book ever. It was the only time I can remember kissing a book and saying thank you to it once I'd finished. So that's how good it is. That's my personal recommendation. So read chapter 1 if you can before then, 1 o'clock on Saturday. And if not, just come along anyway, and you might be inspired to buy and or read the book as you go. And then another Connection Support meditation session on Sunday at noon. And then we've got a special guest on Monday, and I can't remember who it is, but never mind. Okay, so without further ado, let's bring Sophie in. And hello, Sophie, and welcome.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you for inviting me.
Very welcome. Thank you for being here and sharing your expertise and your journey and your wisdom with us.
Well, I'm very grateful to be invited, and it feels very symbolic to connect with you like this over the internet.
Indeed.
The last time we saw each other was in Nice.
Yes, it was. That's, I think we've met 2 or 3 times, all in Nice. So maybe you can perhaps introduce yourself and just say a little bit about what you do and maybe your journey from Nice to doing what you do now.
Absolutely. So I started my journey when I was 18, moving to Nice, actually, to France, to study French. And later on, I got into the hotel world because I studied in Switzerland since I love to travel. And whilst I was studying, my mother actually sneaked in this little paper in my bag when I moved to Switzerland saying, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always gotten. So actually, this is a phrase that's traveled with me throughout my journey. And through my studies, I've worked in different luxury hotels around the world. But finally, my journey came back to Nice, where a little dream of mine came true about creating a community cafe. And this cafe was called Nice Life. Nice Life in Nice.
Yes, and it was a very nice cafe.
Thank you. And it came about actually from the journey of always traveling and wanting to meet other people. So to create a community cafe was a way to create a home away from home. So little by little, different people came to the cafe. We had everything from shamans to authors to artists to ballerinas coming through the doors. And everybody started to get to know each other by name. And it was a little bit like your community, Paul, like where everybody starting to talk about life and what's important and yeah, feeling part of something bigger. So eventually I started also to do meditation evenings like you're doing as well. And we had yoga. So it was a lot about mindfulness. And little by little, I eventually had that cafe for 3 years. And throughout this time, I met a lot of interesting people, amongst them your dad, Keith Wolstenholme. And he also had an inspiring workshop at the cafe about love. And he inspired me to read the book Celestine Prophecy. Then that's a whole other story. I can go on and on about that as well. But to get to the point, my idea of abundance came from the idea of using what you have. So through my cafe, I was always coming to the markets and buying what I saw at the market and creating a dish from that every day. So I wanted to teach people to use what they have. But I can go on and on. It's there's so much to talk about that.
Yeah, I remember your Facebook post from back in those days. Sorry, I'm just realising I'm a little dark, so I'm trying to illuminate myself a little. And yeah, you'd take photos at the market with all the colourful fruit and veg and choosing what you were going to buy that day and creating wonderful dishes out of it.
It was I mean amazing. I lived just next to the market, so I took my bike and I went to my different places. I knew the people and chatted with them and picked the vegetables. And it was a vegan restaurant. So, and in those days, it's not that long time ago, but it was quite new with vegan food in France. And also a community cafe. So people would look in and they would like, what is this weird cafe? And what is this kind of food? So it actually was more international people that wanted to come in there because they were more used to vegan food and so on. But after 3 years, I was actually burned out, and I'd worked 7 days a week, and I was really tired. So I decided to take a gap year where I went to the mountains to be in nature, just to be. And I also felt this kind of emptiness where everything from nice life was about to disappear. But then this idea about writing a book about all the people I've met, including your dad and so many others, and all the stories I've learned, it kind of added to this abundance feeling that if I write this book, at least it's like this treasure that I can keep. And it also focused on the aspect of how we can use food and to be creative. And so a lot about the ideas is about not only food, but to use what you have in your environment, especially now with the quarantine. It helps me a lot actually to not to buy things all the time. So I was writing that, and eventually I understood that I wanted to travel again. So I created a soul circle, which I now have, and it was a retreat company. So I worked cooking for retreats a bit everywhere in the world, in Portugal and France and Caribbeans, and that's where the cooking classes come in. So you were asking me about that the other day, and the idea is to make this abundance idea tangible. So I don't know if you want me to go into that now, or if I should.
Yeah, so I just got to kind of take my hat off to you, really, Sophie. Do you understand that expression, taking the hat off?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because that, I'm just thinking about that note that you said. Was it your mum who put that note in your book as you were?
He sneaked into my bag.
Yeah. And you really seem to have lived that. You know, you've gone out there and you've done it. You've lived in so many different countries. You've set up businesses. You've written a book. You've achieved so much. And the book's beautiful. You know, it's a lovely thing, full of wisdom. And the chapter on that features my dad was just, it was such a wonderful thing to share with my children, and a great way to remember him. And yeah, it's really touching. And yeah, it's all, I feel like everything you do is just coming from that good place, that place of love and exploration, and running through it is this kind of sense of holistic well-being and abundance. So it's a lovely thing that you are doing and have been doing all the way through your journey, I feel.
Thank you so much for saying that. That's really touching. It's well, you know, it's all of the things have been also crazy scary. It's like, you know, it's been a journey to follow your heart. And a lot of people can tell you, oh, but you can't do that, and this can happen, and you know. But now looking back, you know, I always tell people, if they have passions in life or dreams, it's not like you have to jump from 0 to 1,000. At least you can start to do something small, and actually that energy is what triggers things to happen to you. So even if you're not like if you love to sing, it's not like you have to overthink to become this artist and make money. I think that a lot of people and myself sometimes overthink and not start to just do it. You know, maybe you should just sing at home for yourself first, and then who knows, you will tell someone, a friend, and ask them, oh, do you want to sing with me? And then you start a little choir together, and it's like these small steps all the time that are leading you to meeting new people, to exploring new sides of yourself. And I think it's that courage to just try a little bit. Doesn't have to be this huge project that like overwhelms you and stops you. So I think that has helped me a lot to not be scared, to let it be fun. And I think that a lot of people are putting barriers to make it very complicated sometimes. And the key is to have this, how to say, playfulness, like a kid. You know, a kid is just trying out things and playing until they find things that they love and they go deeper into, and so on.
Yeah, that kind of sense of childlike enthusiasm and lack of fear. I think what you're saying about people being held back, because I think probably it's always to do with fear, and the fear of beginning, or the fear of the thing being too big. And like you say, if we just take a little step, just a little step each day, it'll get there. And I think people, you know, if people follow their heart and do what they love with passion, it will be a success.
Exactly. And I think that the cooking classes is a good example of that, because I see people's reactions to what they're going through, this fear of failure and fear of like they have to be perfect and so on. And then just in 1 hour, people are kind of letting go of that, and they're like rediscovering that like curious child again. And they see that they can do it, and then they get empowered. And just through that little easy experiment, I think that you can applicate that to many things in life. But you can use cooking to kind of reconnect with that creative power you have inside.
Yeah, creativity is a massive thing. And someone else I was talking to on the Thrive Hive, we were discussing creativity and the fact that so many adults believe that they are not creative. And it may be because they were told as a child, you can't draw, or you can't paint, or you're no good at this. And that's a script that they just take in and they believe that. But actually, we're all creative.
Everyone's creative. It's not about if you can draw or not. It's every day you're taking decisions that are creative. Everything you do is creativity. So it's and then the abundance is knowing that you have that creativity. Because if you know you have that creativity, you can do anything you want. And it's just a matter of kind of being an alchemist in your life, turning things around to something lighter, something less complicated, something that more flows. And abundance is, I mean, I tricked my mind for a while. When I was going through this breakup, I was devastated, and I woke up every day to this white wall. And one morning I just woke up and I'm like, no, I'm going to program myself into abundance. So I put a big piece of paper on the wall and I wrote with big letters, abundance. And then I would wake up to that word like every single morning. And I truly believe in that words can affect like the brain and how we are programmed. And sometimes such a simple thing like just making like a Pinterest board with pictures that makes you feel happy. Can be anything from happy animals to flowers, or just that feeling of abundance. It really does affect you. So I like to play around with that a lot.
Yeah, and we were speaking before we went live about gratitude, and just keeping a gratitude journal, or whilst meditating, focusing on things that we appreciate can really rewire the brain and set you up for the day in a very positive and creative manner.
Absolutely. I mean, just a simple thing to put like a big piece of paper, and in the middle you write the word that you're grateful for, and then around that word you can just put out whatever comes to your mind, drawing or writing, and it just triggers so quickly like how you are behaving throughout your day, what comes to you. It's incredible how you can switch your mindset in such a simple way.
And that's just reminded me that I have forgotten to ask you the two questions that I am now asking all of my guests on the Thrive Hive. So I'm going to shoehorn them in now, if that's okay, Sophie. Sure. So the first one is, what do you love? What are your passions?
Oh my God, do you have to choose?
How long have we got?
I would say like, what is my passion at the moment? So my passion at the moment is absolutely gardening. I love to be outside and to see plants grow. And I love animals. The food, I mean, it's just a constant passion. But those things like animals and gardening at the moment is what fills me, especially in these times. I can see myself like gaining energy from just being with plants and with animals. So those are the two things that I'm very passionate about at the moment.
Yeah. And you've got various animals around you, including some miniature pigs.
Yeah, Lily and Rose. They are about this big. And we actually had a animal communication session with them today. So we are also trying to be more present, because that's what animal communication is about. And I'm learning a lot from them. They're very clever animals, and they are very sensitive as well. So you have to be very like patient, but they learn super quick. So no, that they're lovely animals.
Yeah, and super cute as well.
Yeah, super cute.
And the other question, which we discussed last week, is how are you coping with the pandemic? And I know things are a little bit different for you in Gotland to what they are in the UK.
Yeah, when people ask me that from, like, I have friends in various countries, and I always feel a little bit ashamed that we have it differently. But as most other people are telling me is that, yeah, well, here it is a different mindset on it, and we are also told to be like take our own responsibility. But I guess also we have a lot more space here as well. We are less people. But I think nothing are right and wrong. It's just different tactics, I guess. But we're still affected in a way that we don't go out as much to do social things. And we, of course, have a lot of cancellations at work because I work with events. So, I mean, we're definitely feeling it.
Okay, thank you. So let's get back to what you do now then, Sophie. So maybe you could explain a bit more about the courses that you run and the retreats, and how you use food, abundance and creativity to bring people together in that way.
So at the moment, yeah, I'm living on Gotland, and this is where I grew up during the summers. My mother's side is from this island. And I decided, like middle life crisis, that I wanted to move back to Sweden. And it so happened that when I decided that, I so happened to stumble over this amazing place where I work now, called Salthamn. And they work with everything I love. They do yoga retreats and weddings, events, and so on. And I'm a chef here, and also event manager. So I do everything from cooking the food, creating the event, and having the contact with the client and so on. But one of my deep passions is my cooking classes. So whether it's a conference or a retreat, I have the same setup. So what I do is that I prepare a table, and I put ingredients. It could be vegetables or fruits and dry foods in the middle of the table. And I ask everybody to get comfortable. And we start with listening to some inspiring, calming music. And people can choose to close their eyes and to connect with their breath and their heart. And I tell them to remember the last time they were creative. So it could be the last time they played with their kids, or cooked or danced, or something as easy as that. And after I've turned on the music, they get to draw or write whatever they have felt throughout this mindful moment. And I tell them that they can keep this as a reminder of, if they need to remind that creative feeling later on, they can keep this paper with them. And to kind of juice it up, I then have a game. So in 1 minute, they're told to come up with as many meals they can make with the ingredients that are on the table. So this is where it kind of gets interesting, and people get very either stuck or very creative. And after 1 minute, I ask who have like the most ideas, and they get to share. And this is where the conversation starts to move. And to add the meaning of the game, I tell them that this is actually how I was told when I was young, how to use what you have, to look at in your fridge, to use what you have, to not get stuck with recipes and to feel like you have to buy new things. So when I was little, we had a game to create a restaurant at home. And I was having a restaurant with my mom, and my sister with my dad. And we would then, in the end of the week, when we had less groceries at home, create a 3-course dinner for the other guests. And we were then graded on how creative we were with what we had. So the game, the cooking class is based on this game. So the next step, of course, is to get practical. So people are divided into teams. And I put out ingredients, but there's no measurements or anything. They're just told the basic idea of the dish they're creating, and they have to taste and see and look and use all the senses with their team member to create this dish. So it's very interesting to watch their reaction, because first a lot of people get a bit scared because they're out of their comfort zone and they start to ask a lot of questions. But then I tell them, like, I'm here as support and you are doing this as a team. So little by little they start to play and they see that they can do it. And they start to talk with the other team members. And eventually it's like a whole village is being created. So in the end, when they're sitting there with all the dishes on the table, it's just watching like this village that just been created in front of my eyes. And it's just an amazing feeling to see how people like wake up with their like creative side and they feel empowered. And also I have to mention that most of the cooking classes are vegan. So not only that, but they have been cooking a whole dinner that is vegan, which they thought they could never do. So it's a really rewarding feeling to see people grow that way and using food to not only to be inspired to cook, but to use this philosophy in life as well. So that's kind of my goal, that people will take that home and look at what they have at home and be a bit of an alchemist.
Yes, the alchemy of transformation.
Yes.
So it sounds like there was a lot of creativity when you were growing up in your family there. So that's kind of gamifying, having those restaurants with you and your mom and your sister and your dad. Perhaps that sowed the seeds for you of bringing creativity and the passion for food into your business.
Absolutely. It's both my parents are very, very creative, and I think it's kind of brought me the sense of safety within myself, because I feel like I can create from nothing. Like I can feel at home anywhere, because I can look at things and make it home. I don't know how to explain it, but it's this feeling of feeling safe, because I can always find ways to make myself feel home and to make a living, and everybody has that. It's just to be reminded of it, I feel.
Yeah, we can make anywhere our home, I think, if we're just kind of comfortable in our own skin. And you're living proof of that, because you've lived in so many different places.
It's I think also creating Nice Life was very empowering, because I was only one person, and it made me realize that one person, I mean, it's just how one person can attract other people, and you can create a little community, just like you're doing now, Paul. It's just very empowering to feel like you can make a difference to people. And it doesn't take much. I mean, when I was living in Germany, I created this potlucks. So we had a little potluck group and we would meet like maybe every second week and cook together. And I mean, small steps, and you can create a little village.
Yeah, and it's beautiful that you're doing that. You are creating community and connecting people with their creativity through food, and that it's a wonderful thing. And I wonder if you could perhaps just say a bit more about the kind of metaphor of abundance in their wider life. So when the people who've come to your cookery classes then go home, how might they manifest abundance and making use of what they've got and that community connection in their wider lives?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it's fun to get pictures sometimes of what people have been cooking at home, and they are so amazed with themselves, and I just love to see like how they are like shining and like, oh, I did this, and I didn't think I could, and I did this with my kids, and they loved it, and it's food is, most people eat 3 times a day. So if we can change the way we look at food, it's like a ripple effect. So I really believe like there's so much aspects around food which comes from how we eat it, like the community, also in what state of mind that we are mindful when we eat, also where food comes from, and that is nature. So being connected to nature, it's a huge aspect of what we eat, we become, and what we are, and so on. And so it's if we change how we eat, we can change many things in our lives, I believe.
Yeah, nourishment. And I wonder if some of your guests see your cute miniature pigs and think, I don't want bacon anymore. I'm going vegan.
Well, actually, it's a lot of people, I think, are thinking like that when they come visit the pigs, and they see that they are, very emotional animals, and well, you get the relationship to an animal, and that's, I think, it's the big difference. When you get relationship to an animal, it changes a lot.
Yes. Aye, okay. So I wonder if there is anything else that we haven't covered that you feel would be useful to talk about.
Well, I was just thinking about now with the lockdown, like what people can do at home. And I had this idea from actually my sister that lives in France, and they have been in lockdown for 2 months as well, and they were doing themed dinner parties online. And then I was thinking, what about doing themed dinner parties, but you have to cook a 3-course dinner with what you have, and you decide the theme beforehand. And the challenge is to use what you have and not follow a recipe. And then you have the party online, and you get to share what you cooked. And I was just thinking about today that I would like to do that myself.
Latest creative idea. And yeah, if folks at home, if you're watching this, maybe you'd like to try that. If so, let us know how you get on. Take some photos. Get dressed up as well. Full and dressed and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've not got the opportunity to go out and get dressed up and go to posh restaurants at the moment. So we could do it at home.
Masquerade at home.
Yeah. Masquerade ball. Sounds good.
I saw someone also doing colored themed. Like, so one day they have to find everything that's purple and put it on, or yellow, and you can do the same with what you're wearing to the dinner party, or even the food. It's a dish with red food. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been eating purple food today because I basically just chucked loads of vegetables into my blender, and beetroot was the strongest colour, so it's just like a purple mush. It was very nice though.
Oh, it's a third eye food, so it could be good. Stronger intuition.
Lovely, great stuff. So, any other tips, ideas, things that people could use perhaps to help them during the lockdown and beyond around unlocking their creativity around food and bringing abundance into their lives, Sophie?
I think that, one thing you can do is to maybe write abundance on a big paper, and to have fun with that, to like have a start, and what is abundance to you, and who knows what will come up, maybe some hidden passions that you have forgotten, and whether it's if it would be writing a book, maybe you should just start writing a letter or writing a piece of poetry, and just take a small step towards your passions. Or if you're more a person who likes pictures, start a board on Pinterest where you collect pictures which makes you inspired through maybe food. It could be food too, and different recipes, or just pictures of food that makes you want to cook. So yeah, I think that's just small little triggers that makes your mind shift.
Yes, I remember creating a vision board with one of those, the cork boards that you can stick map pins in. So yeah, that's a really good thing to do, and a daily visual reminder of what you want to bring into your life.
And I mean, just like the simple thing that if we have the ability to just be outside, just to be, I think sometimes like we forget just to be. And often when we just are, the most amazing ideas comes. If you're sitting in a bathtub or you're just sitting in nature, for me, it's also the place where I find most inspiration. So we can also get so hooked up on all the things we have to do and forget that we just have to be.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this is the time, this lockdown, is to reconnect with like human being and not human doing. And yeah, just be grateful for what is right now. No need to change anything.
Yeah.
It's a good start, and then other things will come.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, I think, to go within and get in touch with what we're grateful for and what's important in life. As you were saying, all the way back in the Nice Life Cafe, people would talk about what's important in life. And I think this is a really good opportunity to reevaluate and connect with nature, connect with yourself. I get a lot of good ideas in the shower, and when I'm going for walks and when I'm going for runs in nature.
Exactly.
Creativity blossoms.
Yes, exactly. And as you were saying, you had a workshop on breath work. That's such a simple way to just connect with life. Breathing. Being grateful for being alive and breathing. Yeah, I think the simplest things, often we have forgotten them. And through the simplest things, a lot of creativity comes.
Agreed. And I think that's a lovely place to end.
Yeah, I think so too.
Great stuff.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Breathing. Oh.
So thank you once again, Sophie, for joining us and sharing your journey, and again the benefit of your wisdom and experience. I just want to challenge you on something. So you described yourself as a chef, and I've been advertising this session as not calling you a chef. I've been calling you a soul food wizard.
Yes. So, okay, soul food wizard.
Yes.
I love that.
So maybe get a little badge and start referring to yourself as a soul food wizard rather than a chef. I think it's more fitting.
Oh, I love that idea.
Just an idea, just a suggestion.
Because I don't like the word chef, so that's a good. Yeah, I will keep that in mind for sure. Soul food wizard. I like it.
Good stuff. Great. So, folks, if you want to connect with Sophie, I'll just put this up again. It is the Soul Circle Concept on Facebook. That's the address down there. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comments, and we can pass them on to Sophie if she doesn't see them. And
Instagram, if they're more on that, there's a lot of updated pictures. What's going on here with the mini pigs? If they like that sort of thing.
Who doesn't like miniature pigs?
Always makes you happy to watch them.
Me too. Lovely. So thank you, Sophie. Take care. And if I don't speak to you before September the 12th, Is that?
Oh, yeah.
Then have a good wedding.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's been great.
I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Sophie. Take care.
You too, Bo.
Bye. That was good, wasn't it? Oh, we've got a comment. Yeah, Rachel. Hello, Rachel. Lovely to hear Sophie's story. Being a vegetarian and loving cooking myself, I totally understand what she means about food, and it's really nice to hear this. Yeah, it's always good to get our own lifestyle choices and beliefs resonated with somebody else. So thank you, Rachel. Yeah, okay. What else do I need to say? I'm going to do some sales stuff. So with apologies to all the people who have tried to subscribe, but with a special offer that doesn't work, even though I've been told 3 times that they fixed it. If you are enjoying the Hive and you're feeling some benefit from it, then I would really appreciate it if you could support us. If you have the funds and the will to do so, then you can help to make this a sustainable community by becoming a member. Just £7 a month, cheaper than Netflix, and come on, it's better than Netflix, isn't it? Maybe. And you can also just drop us £3 by buying us a coffee anytime you like. So maybe if you come to a session, you got something out of it, you want to express your appreciation in a monetary manner, then drop us £3 at buymeacoffee.com/thrivehive. Or if you don't want to do that, or if you don't feel, whatever, you can just give us a comment or a thumbs up or a like or something to say how we're doing, and let us know if there's anything else you'd like us to do. So that's all, I think. So check out Sophie's mini pigs. They're very cute. Follow her on Instagram or Facebook. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Full moon tonight. Sophie tells me it's a Scorpio moon. And that's a really good time for letting go of stuff that you don't want anymore, things that you've been resisting, and maybe setting some positive intentions for the future, which starts right now. So be well, and hopefully I will see some of you for the connection, meditation and support session on Zoom, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye.